It's me. I'm hosting. He's not. He'll be back later. I don't know what happened, but yeah. So we're here. It's Tuesday. Is it Tuesday already? Okay. What's the show we talk about on Tuesdays? I honestly don't know.
That's Alex Pulowski and Everything Sucks. Joining him as always is me, Kate. Get it your super chats. Get it your humper chats at humperchats.com.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe to FightfulSelect.com if you've been thinking about it.
Yeah.
Steal someone's credit card and just do it already. That's all we're saying. It doesn't have to be your money. Just commit identity fraud. And do it because you get so much value back there for real, for real. We had a story that broke on the 2026 schedule for Saudi Arabia.
Oh my God.
Earlier today, you get me and Alex. If you like this, you should see us behind the paywall because somehow, in some ways, it's even sillier. In other ways, it's less silly. But it's still us. So you know it's going to be silly and all sorts of fun. But we do shows every Monday and for every PLE that we're not on the main channel for. We will, however, be on the main channel for All In. So we're going to figure out what our NXT coverage is for that weekend. Probably on delay at a later time. Maybe not at all. Whatever. We're going to figure it out. But FightfulSelect.com, you get more of me and Alex. You get select answers all the time. Sean's got Q&A stuff for you constantly. You get betting odds when they're available for us. And you also get... access to our Discord so you can hang out with normal people in a moderated environment, which is becoming increasingly more necessary. But head over to FightfulSelect.com and subscribe there. Leave a thumbs up on this video as well and subscribe to this YouTube channel and also do my laundry. We ask a lot of you at the beginning of the show, but there are so many different ways you can support us. Alex.
Yeah.
This episode felt like a taped episode of NXT.
It did. It did feel extra taped.
Yeah, which I kind of expected going into it.
1 to taped. This was taped.
Taped and a half, even I would say.
Yeah.
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 I kind of expected that going into it.
Yeah. I mean, so it's taped this week. But so next week's a live go home, right? So it's taped this week because the Tuesday the kids that they get Tuesday off for 4th of July. They get the 1st of July off for 4th of July. So that's very nice for them. Or maybe they're celebrating Canada Day.
That could be it.
So many pro wrestlers are Canadian. Maybe they're just celebrating Canada Day.
They're not going to make Ethan Page.
They're not going to make Ethan Page work on Canada Day. They're not going to make Sean Spears stand in the background of something during Canada Day. That is crazy. Happy Canada Day, which is on the 1st July, 2025.
Alpha Bell hitting us with the Aussie date form.
Canada puns.
There you go.
Canada puns. In honor of our friends in the surely still frozen north. It's Canada puns. There you go.
Tom Lavallee saying this. Happy Canada Day. Drink some poutine and eat some Molson.
Yeah.
I'm no Canadian, but that red is a little bit backwards to me, but I don't know.
I mean, poutine's mostly gravy, right?
Fair. That's fair.
Like if you had poutine is like gravy over potatoes, like fries.
Yeah.
If you take the gravy away from the fries, it's just fries, which are delicious. But then you add gravy and it becomes disgusting poutine.
So in New Jersey, we have a variation of that, but it keeps the cheese and they call it disco fries. And I feel like
I don't
know what makes it disco.
I don't know. You have
what? Where does this of it all come into?
I have no idea, but
it's very odd.
Why gravy?
Beats me.
Okay.
Even when
Is it a beef gravy or like a turkey stock? What kind of gravy are we talking here?
that was not my jam. I was going just cheese fries is perfection. I don't know why we're adding
I don't know if we have to add like beef tallow in a liquid form. Why are we doing that? Like the cheese and fries go together like peanut butter and jelly. By the way, do not add gravy to your peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
No, that
it's
also
perfect
sounds
the
awful.
way it is.
I don't understand it.
I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Just like I don't get NXT. This much I got. Joe Hendry beat Wes Lee with Trick Williams at ringside. That much I got. That made sense to me. Trick Williams on commentary. This match muted on my television because Booker T sitting next to Trick Williams, I assumed was just ripe for terrible stuff. So muted. Joe Hendry beat him because Mike Santana, who since this episode was taped, TNA announced that he will be joining Joe Hendry in making it a triple threat, and these guys are able to coexist as TNA roster members better than anyone's ever coexisted in the build to a triple threat before. Like Joe Hendry's like, well, yes, I know I won't be invited to the Mike Santana family barbecue. But I understand that he does indeed bleed TNA red and yellow, whatever the colors are. And Santana's like, yeah, well, I believe that you're a cornball, but at least we know we can't let Trick Williams be the champion of TNA. So these guys, this build to me signifies that neither of these dudes is winning a Slammiversary. Like these guys need to hate each other because one of them's getting pinned and it ain't Trick Williams. Let's hope it's Santana pinning Joe Blandry, but we just need to figure out how to get there. But right now they seem to be on very good terms during a backstage interview after Mike Santana helped Joe Hendry get a pinfall on Wes Lee.
So my two overarching complaints for this episode are the crossovers into the mini universes of NXT are a little crowding to the product, and the playbook is, we got fresh and then we got stale again. Like it is as stale as it's ever been. This episode, spoiler alert, closes with Blake Monroe and Jordan Grace on the same side of things because they have a common, and we saw Sol Ruca playing right out of the Bloodline playbook with accidental spirit. Like it is so much stuff that we've ever seen before. And I know I complain about that a lot and I use that criticism a lot. But to me, and this is my old lady shakes fist at cloud moment of this episode, like the richness of pro wrestling is that wrestling is a vehicle for some of the most incredible different types of stories that you can tell because of the nature of wrestling. And when you shortchange it by only telling the same 5 stories over and over again, like it really, man, you're leaving so much on the table of what pro wrestling can be. And I just wish, I wish there was a more expansive nature of that. And I actually feel like stepping back and looking at the product that it is, like in developmental, I think it's important to have that be diverse, especially so that you don't get to the main roster and only know how to do the same 4 stories. Granted, it's not a diverse breadth of storytelling up there, but like in a developmental system, I feel like it's so important to get your hands on a lot of different types of stuff. And they do that with like making sure everyone works heel and face and whatever. Like everybody's trying on different iterations of what type of character they are. But like the actual wrestling to tell a story part is very, very limited. And that was all over this episode. Match was fine. Santana is a special dude. Like the sincerity when he speaks is something that is so grounded and real sounding. And it's like, I know what he was going to say to Joe Hendry. Yeah, of course I did. But like, it's not his fault that it's a bland story, because he made me look like the one thing we know is that Trick Williams can't be running around here with the title. Like, he did a really good job with everything he's been given in not the best storyline. So
Right.
I just am so continually impressed by his work specifically, even though I don't like the story. Like, he's a really sincere promo, and it makes me really happy that that dude's getting to shine, because he's making me believe it. He's making me believe it.
Yeah, no, he's very sincere in his promo work. But like the sincerity's not enough. This was a fine little match with Wes Lee, who was never going to win, and you get Trick Williams, I'm sure, making fun of him a lot, and then the rest of the high rise getting involved, Team Bouncy Beef getting involved over and over again, until Mike Santana had to come down and help out Joe Hendry. This is the thing.
Other side of the coin, the unfortunate side for me is like, this Wes Lee stuff is not working for me at all. And it's not because of that dude. That dude's great. I think he's meant to be a babyface and not a leader of a faction, because that dude's incredible.
I think he could pull this off. They're not giving him time to do so.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Make them into something. Like, give him something to do. Like, I was really excited for a proper Wes Lee, heel Wes Lee versus Ricky Stark Saints. Like, I was really excited for that when he interrupted the first promo by Ricky, and they never paid that off. Like, he had one match and then kind of bleh. But that was a thing you could easily have done. I don't know what the plan is for Ricky Saint Starks. Like, if he's actually, like, we know immediately what the plan is, but after that, is he winning the title? If he's not and he's moving up, well, then goodbye. But if he's still here, get him the hell away from Ethan Page and have an actual, real, honest-to-God feud with Wes Lee. Could do wonders for Wes Lee. But I don't think that's in the cards.
I agree with you on that. Like, that would be Wes Lee coming back for, like, his title as a heel would be very interesting.
Right. Hold on. Meat Norma says, Meat Castle is not a place, it's a people, Sour Ones. It's very nice.
Thank you.
This is very good. Now, this is something we haven't done this, but in a while, maybe ever. But Tom LaValle has sent in a jukebox. It says Paul Pawlowski sings "The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald" by the great Canadian troubadour Gordon Lightfoot, and I feel like the entire song must be sung, but it is a 7-minute song. So we're going to have Paw come on several times over the course of this episode and sing a stanza, recite a stanza.
I love that Paul Pawlowski
go away,
the through line of our episode.
And then we can he'll come back later, and then we'll just do that several times over the course of the episode. So this will be the first time we do that. But thank you very much.
We do have a sour chat from my dad, or a humper chat from my dad, who says,
go ahead and do that first.
Well, he says Happy Canada Day to all who celebrate. Everything else sucks, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Which is accurate. When I went to Toronto and saw Joel Pearl, I know, why would I spend my time in Toronto with Joel Pearl? It was a consequence of the job.
Yeah.
But I went for Forbidden Door. I heard him with an authentic Canadian, talking to another Canadian. And I think talking to other Canadians, it's like, you see me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Well, here we go. Here's the first couple of stanzas of The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald as recited by Paw Pawlowski. The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down of the big lake they call Gitchigumi. The lake, it is said, never gives up her dead when the skies of November turn gloomy. With a load of iron ore, 26,000 tons more than the Edmund Fitzgerald weighed empty. That good ship and true was a bone to be chewed when the gales of November came early. To be continued.
Well, if you don't want your Gales of November to come too early.
Blue Chew main event performance, main event confidence, and a main event deal. Go to BlueChew.com and use the code FIGHTFUL, and you will get Blue Chew with their first shipment for free. Shipment? Yeah, I said shipment. No waiting in line at the pharmacy, no awkward doctor's visits. You take their online exam, and then if approved, it's shipped straight to your door. That's right. Same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form and much more affordable. How can you pass up on this? How can you pass up on that confidence? How can you pass up on that performance? How can you pass up on making your sex life better? That's what Blue Chew is here to do. You don't have to have a problem to use Blue Chew. Just get that additional performance. BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL.
I just want you guys to know a few things. One, Alex was just shaking his head off screen. Just shaking his head. The other thing that's important is I had a Blue Chew segue planned for later in my head. But I try not to do Blue Chew segues around women's matches because I don't know if you guys know this. People are really weird to women's wrestlers. So I try not to exacerbate that. But when we had an accidental spear happen later, I felt like sometimes rules are meant to be broken.
Right.
But then I was just handed this gift. And sometimes you got to call an audible.
You
gotta.
Yeah.
I think our friends at Blue Chew would know and appreciate it. To be honest. So
all right.
I don't even like doing ad reads that early in the episode because we talk for a long time.
Yeah, we do.
But sometimes something's just right.
Yeah, thank you. Luca Crucifino came to the ring to call out Tony D'Angelo. Like, Tony D'Angelo and I have been through a lot together. I am his consigliere, and I will be calling him out to the ring so that we can get to the bottom of whatever is going on. I'm like, man, I know you went to college, but like, we got to get you back to the streets with the accent, Luca. I mean, we gotta. I know you're a lawyer and everything, but we gotta get some New York in you, just a little bit somewhere, please.
Well, here's the thing: he's not. I don't think this type of lawyer is like a compliance lawyer. You know what I mean? Yeah. He doesn't need to sound like a lawyer. He needs to sound like
maybe he's trying to like he wants to be a judge someday, so he's got to like make it sound good.
Fair. In my head, he's supposed to sound like a Law and Order SVU, not lawyer, but like I guess the DA's like Carisi had an accent,
Yeah, I mean,
so that's what I'm picturing in my head.
Right. He says I sacrificed everything for a chance to be in WWE, and I never gave you any reason to doubt me. I've only been nothing but loyal. And Tony's like, you hit me in the face last week. And I'm like, he hit you in the back with a bucket. I mean, did you tape this before?
It was a loaded bucket, though. It had a steel plate in it.
No, the bucket was loaded up with El Grande Americano's mask. That's what that was.
It was a bucket with a mask with tinfoil in it.
Yeah. And he says, yeah, but then you punched me in the face. But yeah, you punched me first. He hit you with a bucket. Anyway, they start talking to each other about, they're being angry. And then Stax interrupts them. He's got the Heritage Cup with him. And he says, hey, yeah, thanks. Thanks for helping me get this Heritage Cup. And then like Stax, this doesn't concern you. This is about the family. You're not in the family. And then Tony D'Angelo says, yeah, agreeing with Luca Crucifino, who then turns around and punches him in the face for agreeing with him. And I was like, that's a really weird time to show that you're on Stax's side. Why would you do that? And then Stax got in the ring and Luca punched him too. And I was like, I don't get any of this. This is all dumb. You ruined all of this, and now I just never want to see Tony D'Angelo in NXT anymore. If this is what you're giving me, I don't want to see one of my favorite dudes since the beginning of us doing this. Consistently, one of my top 2 or 3 dudes on this entire show has been Tony D'Angelo. I don't care to watch him anymore. Not if this is what you're giving me out of this. No.
Yeah, this is gone. I feel like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't watch anything overly suspenseful. I'm a big sissy. But the mob archetype is one you got to follow pretty closely on the family breakup thing, I feel like. And you can't really, this is not the story that you do wiggle room with, where it's like Luca finds his own way. Like, nobody in a crime family really finds their own way, to my knowledge. Not without dying. So, I'll say this was the first time I've heard Luca have and keep the live crowd really well, which that made me happy for him. He still has a little bit of loosening up to do, and everything I said about Santana, like he just needs more time doing this, I think. He hasn't had a lot of mic time, but that made me happy to see him have and keep the crowd. They've ruined the story, and I'm it's been said Heritage Cup perv. A mob family member cannot come out holding the Heritage Cup. It looks weird.
when Tony D did it, it felt like legitimate because he's a legitimate wrestler. But Stacks in full, that's true.
Like I feel like Stacks coming out with it. It's not like he's like, the prestige of this is what this has all been
Stacks
for.
In full heel mode is like, hey, thanks for giving me this copy. I'm gonna drink spaghetti sauce out of it. Like, he just feels like he's that guy,
It is a cumbersome device. I acknowledge that, because this did not look that different than Duke Hudson with his MVP trophy. But it didn't work for the moment that they were trying to build it all. Him walking out there with this big goofy thing. I'll say he sold the hell out of Luca's punch, though. Good on him.
Yeah, he did. And then Luca says, Luca Crucifino is loyal to Luca Crucifino. And I'm like,
that's not how mobs work.
But that is also true. But however, I just don't see singles run in Luca Crucifino currently.
No, not yet.
You know what I mean? He's got to be loyal to somebody else so that he can have a tag partner. Otherwise, I just don't feel like this is it. You know what I mean? Unfortunately.
And I feel like if something is called a mob in general,
right? Yeah,
it should have a lot of guys involved, which has always been the Achilles heel of the.
It should have a lot of guys involved, and importantly, one gal. Where is Big Ange?
That was gonna be my next point.
I mean,
where is she?
Like, she's hurt. She's injured, so she can't be on TV.
You know what I'm honestly nervous about? That she's gonna be Adriana on Evolve, and she's just not gonna be a part of this anymore. I'm so nervous.
No, here we go. Here's it's gonna start. We're ready for it. Ready? Here's how her singles Def Revel produced theme song is going to sound on Evolve. Ready? Nobody beats the Riz.
Oh no. Also, crucially, in a mob, I don't think a guy just is like, I choose me. That's not what these stories are about. What a boring way to end The Godfather.
Yeah.
Though I've been told that show insists upon itself, or that movie insists upon itself.
Yeah, that's what you.
Should we take care of some other business that we have in the chats, because we have some
take care of those
unrelated. DNC Digital with a very nice one saying, found Fightful years ago when I was going through things. It was my birthday Sunday. Happy belated birthday. Want to thank both of you and SGS for welcoming me to the community. Man, I love when you were looking for something that we were able to provide some relief and that you continue to feel like you want to stick around here with other people. And thank you for showing up and having fun with us every week. It's the best part of what we do. Yeah. And honestly, did you say 5 years ago? Because I was new to this ship 5 years ago. My anniversary is in like a month. So thanks for sticking with us that long, man. That means a lot.
Yeah.
And then we had a big chat from Jim.
Ooh.
Big chat from Big Jim. This is Jimmy Uso, actually. Saying, I know it's NXT night, but I have a bit of Raw business. The Seth Riders need to add Braun Pillman Jr., Braun Bella, Braun Killings, and bring back Riddle named Bro. I think he means Braun Bro? Then we can bring back future Hall of Famer Braun Danielson. I love the idea of Braun Bella. Like Brie Bella joining
Braun Killings is something that they absolutely would do with the R-Truth character from 3 months ago. He would just join and he'd call it like, he's like, Truth, what are you doing here? Oh, I changed my name to what? Braun Killings.
And he just shows up in a black suit.
Yeah. He doesn't tell anybody. He just shows up and he wears a black suit. He's got sunglasses on.
Sunglasses?
And he's just walking behind Paul Heyman to the ring, and eventually, like, they all notice him. Like, what are you doing here, Truth?
What is he doing?
Oh, I changed my name to what? Braun Killings. Then Paul Heyman loses his mind laughing.
I want, because we have Bronson Reed, obviously, and Braun Breaker. I want them to have the Law and Order dun-dun theme, but be Braun. We also have Eugene, who's a new YouTube member. Thank you so much for becoming a new YouTube member. And Matt Logan, who sent in a super sticker. Thank you, Matt Logan. We appreciate you guys and the support. And a million absolutely phenomenal Canada puns. It's so like many. They've been waiting.
Yeah, they've been waiting for it. It's a perfect day for it. So we'll do it later.
It's beautiful.
Okay? All right. Oba Femi was interviewed by Killer Kincaid. And he's the best. And he just talks about how I respect Inamura's moxie or whatever, but Jasper Troy is a tough guy and to beat. And then Inamura comes out and says, "I will show tenacity." I was like, okay. I love Inamura. I think
he's charming.
He's incredibly charming, and I really like his work in the ring. He's not in a position to challenge for the World Heavyweight title.
No, one half.
Myles Borne won a battle royal. He just wants a title shot, and Ava's like, yeah, sure, if you can beat this other guy who already got a title shot 2 weeks ago. Is that what? That's all we got. We got nothing else for Oba Femi. Like I keep saying this, literally nothing. Like here's the deal. They do this all the time. At least they did for a while. They were doing this a lot. NXT stars in the front row of Raw just fly out Oba Femi to Pittsburgh last night and focus on him in the front row for the match between Rusev and Sheamus. And have them both come up to him and jaw at him. And instead of having it with Rusev win, it goes to a no contest because stuff. And they both show up to NXT tonight on a taped episode, which will be hard. NXT next week, and we get a triple threat with Sheamus and Rusev and Oba Femi. And it's friggin' awesome. I want that. I would rather have that than a guy who feels like he's not at that point in NXT. Build people. For the love of God, build people. This is not you lay, okay, we laid the foundation. Great. And all of a sudden he's on the third floor. There's nothing in between. The third floor is just floating above. You have to build the staircase to get there. They don't build the staircase. Build the staircase.
I liked in the Oba Femi promo that he called out the idea of like, you're probably thinking that I want them just to soften each other up from when I face them, but that's not it. I really, really liked that line because it's a reminder of I want the best at their best. I did like that. The problem with this is like we did kind of have a story to get here, and that Inamura and Briggs were winning title shots for each other or whatever. That whole thing was odd. But I said, and I stand by it, because this is extremely serious, as we all know. Like, if you have to pull one half of your pulling from half a tag team to do this is a problem when your tag team's champions are also don't have programs lined up.
Yeah.
Like it's such a shallow well right now that you don't have a proper challenger for Oba Femi, so you go into the tag team division. But the tag team division, so like you don't have anything built for your champions there either after an amazing story. So I appreciate that they're doing something with Jasper Troy immediately, because he is incredible. Like I really liked what we've seen from him so far for how new he is to this.
He's very new to it.
And I appreciate the crossover with Evolve and like, why isn't there I guess I just don't who would you even build up from TNA? Because you've already got Joe Hendry and this thing, and Mike Santana's involved in this other thing.
We already
like,
no, honestly, I know nobody else would want to see it, but I would love the promos. I think AJ Francis could be friggin' great.
That could be really fun.
In a short program with Oba Femi, I think he would do a really great promo on him. And he's a big dude who really, the thing about him that I love so much is that he is always on as a character in the ring. Like all of the stuff he does, like there's so much extra stuff that he puts into just the way he moves around the ring, the way he reacts to stuff. Like I really, really enjoy his work. I think that could be a lot of fun. Again, you got to take the time to actually do it. It can't just be like a week, but like you give the time for it. Like, because Trick Williams says, I'm coming after that title, big man. Like, I got some stuff to do with the TNA, but it's going to be two belts Trick. I'm coming after that title again. Don't you worry about it. And it says, yeah, you have your own things to worry about. Yeah, I do right now. But you know who doesn't? My boy, AJ Francis from First Class. And I talked to Santino Marella, and he talked to Ava. And guess what? You just got a challenger. And in walks AJ Francis, who cuts a little 20-second promo on Oba Femi. Like, it could be really good.
I also feel like AJ Francis is the right kind of heel to talk himself into a match with a bunch of shit talking. Like, you don't need an extensive, like, well, they picked up 5 wins with AJ Francis. And that, I think, is actually the beauty of having interpromotional relationships. Is I still prefer there be qualifiers to things and wins and losses determining things, but you can kind of say like, this guy's killing it over there. But like this is where it hurts, like having Wes Lee trapped in something lower down. This is where it hurts having Ricky Saints and Ethan Page still trapped in the same story, though I do like the Vanity Project stuff, I will say. And it also just like, that's the nature of a developmental program, unfortunately. Like, we go through cuts and people getting called up and resetting all the time. But I am truly me, just as like your co-host. I am stunned that you would want to see Miro and Oba Femi in the same ring. Like that shocks me to no end. Your two favorite wrestlers
before they even re-signed Miro. I was like, Sheamus, give me Sheamus.
Yeah, truly, that's But now I just want them to do a best of 7 with those two guys and do a tag team. I'm in.
Yes. Yeah. I think Inamura is really talented, and I think the match between him and Oba Femi is going to be great. It just feels like we're just doing stuff. Like, we're just doing stuff now.
It does feel like we're just doing stuff. And I also don't like we just had like 8 months of Fraxium being in dissension with each other. And we had Grayson Waller and Austin Theory being in dissension with each other. Like the will they, won't they of Briggs and Inamura. I'm not like the biggest fan of just when I talk about tired playbooks, this is the stuff I'm talking about. Like, come up with other ways to do things.
Right. All right. Next two stanzas of the wreck of the Edmonds Fitzgerald as sung by Paul Pawlowski.
I just want you guys to know, like, usually we just do one verse if something is this long, but you're
No.
getting the full Pawlowski.
This is honestly one of the greatest songs ever written.
It is fantastic.
And on Canada Day, we owe it to the great Canadian troubadour, Gordon Lightfoot, to sing the entire song, just spread out over the entire show.
I appreciate it.
The ship was the pride of the American side, coming back from some mill in Wisconsin. As the big freighters go, it was bigger than most, with a crew and a good captain well seasoned. Concluding some terms with a couple of steel firms when they left fully loaded for Cleveland. Then later that night when the ship's bell rang, could it be the north wind they'd been feeling? The wind in the wires made a tattletale sound when the wave broke over the railing, and every man knew, as the captain did too, 'twas the witch of November come stealing. To be continued. Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you, Tom Lavelli, for requesting that. So the next thing that happened was Myles Bourne defeating Lexis King. Thank God. And he did it with a zigzag, which I don't think he'd ever attempted before. And it was like Corey Graves was doing a Michael Cole talking about whether or not Nikki Cross was Sister Abigail. A zigzag like maneuver, and I was like, okay, that's it's a Nikki Cross like creature, a zigzag like maneuver. Is it a zigzag? But give it a name. If you're going to start winning the matches with zigzags, like call it something else, because it can't Miles Mills. I don't know what you call it if it's not zigzag.
Well, I can't remember who said it, but I think it was somebody in the Fightful chat once was like, when Nick Nemeth uses it, he should call it the knick-knack. The knick-knack, yes. Which I would have loved. I don't know what you
call it. You call it the knick-knack, but the full name of the move is the knick-knack paddywhack give a dog a Bourne.
Nailed it. It's perfect.
That's it right there. But knick-knack for short. And
I like
only
that.
The people who are really plugged in.
Oh, Alex, only real fans.
Only real fans. Unless you've been hiding under a rock. You know that the full name of his finisher is the knick-knack paddywhack give a dog a Bourne.
In case you've been living under a rock.
Right. Yeah, Myles Bourne won, thank God. I guess
he did. Lexis King looked he was like, I lost 20 pounds in 6 weeks, and it definitely showed.
Yes, he did. But you know what doesn't, like, it's fine. That's good. I'm glad that, we went and he got on some juice cleanse or whatever. I'm happy for him. It does not help when Booker T, when they lock up for the first time, was like, cameraman, get a close up of those abs. I was like, so weird, man. So weird.
It's, I've like heard enough from wrestlers that even when somebody looks great, that's the extent of what I'll say about them. Because the way I've put it is, you could say that a wrestler looks like $1 million and they will fixate over why they don't look like $1,000,001. Like it's a really brutal business.
Right.
So it is, but it is also like partly a physique driven business, which I get, but like he looks great, but he doesn't look like he's not like an Adonis type. Like he lost
like,
23 pounds. He's not like a bodybuilder.
No, he's not a bodybuilder, and also like he's not a bodybuilder, and also like he's not Finn Balor. You mean like look at those abs when like that there's people all over the thing who like because their body is just built differently. Like they have like
Finn Balor's abs have abs. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
He's got abs on his abs, which have abs on them.
It's ridiculous.
You know what I mean? Like it's just.
So that was weird. I feel like he was moving really quick in the ring from what I saw. Like, so I'm glad for him that it's showing up in that way because I would imagine that makes your cardio easier. But this was obviously the right call to have Myles Borne win. Yeah. So that's great. Like this served the purpose it was intending to serve.
Right.
And
so
I don't have a ton more to say.
This is all very good. I'm thankful that this match was won by Myles Borne, and I am thankful it was won quickly because that's how much I think highly of Myles Borne in comparison to Lexis King. However, about a minute into the match, I went downstairs to do some measurements in my new office to see how big of a desk I should buy. And when I came back up, the match was over. Myles Borne beat Lexis King in 4.5 minutes. So if we're gonna have one of our commentators anytime Lexis King shows up on screen, calling him the star of all television, like at what point do we admit no, that's not what it is, and Brooker's delusional, or are we gonna push him toward the North American title again soon? You know what I mean? Like. It's weird.
The thing with Lexis King, whether you're what were they calling their friends? His fans. I forget. Whether you're in on like the comedic heel that he is or not, there is an incredible inconsistency in the way that he's presented on screen. And in a world where the roster is pretty shallow right now, that's a tough thing. Because if you I'm glad Myles Borne won, but like he was off screen for 6 weeks and he comes back to losing 4.5 minutes isn't great. Right. So they have to decide who Lexis King is and build him up to play that role. Because it also felt like I didn't love it, but it felt like we were headed somewhere with the end of the Heritage Cup story, and then it just didn't.
Yeah, I believe they were calling themselves intellectuals, but that's at least the second. The first name that came out when he was starting, we were just doing vignettes. People were calling themselves Lex offenders, and I'm like, no, you can't call yourselves that. You're gonna get on a watch list. You're gonna have to identify yourselves to your new neighbors when you move into a new area of town. Don't call yourselves that.
I'm not saying I'm above this, okay? But sometimes wrestling fans need to just like check in with themselves on certain things. The amount of times I've said I would fight Bernie Danielson for taking Bryan Danielson away from wrestling, also not great, right? Yeah. But like you have to, you gotta put the boundary there.
There was a Dark State promo. Like, man, Hank and Tank get jumped last week, and everybody points the finger at us, huh? But we've got better things to do than to become tag champs. Was the basic tenor of this promo? Like, why would we want? I know we pinned them like 2.5 months ago, but why would we want to follow up on that at all? We know what we're doing, but you don't. I was like, oh God. Their credit, the things that happen here only happen because we allow it.
To their credit, I think they were like, we're coming after the tag titles. And then they watched Raw and they were like, I don't think we should try and be in tag wrestling if we want to have a successful future, because what on earth was that?
I don't know.
It felt so dead in the water when they arrived, and then they found something and unlocked it, and now I don't know who they think they are in this world anymore, and they need to correct it, because I think there's a lot of potential, especially in Saquon Sugars. But in the group, they, after a really, really, really rough start, they kind of won us back with the D'Angelo vignettes, and then getting to see the backbreaker. And like, I kind of was bought in on the mix of guys that we were getting with this stuff. And then they've splintered what this group is trying to do in so many different directions. It's a shame, because like, just if they had a mission and then they were like, but also we not that. Like, they abandoned it so fast.
Yeah.
I follow through, man.
I really think that the original plan, even when they debuted, was for them to be led by Trick Williams. And then they changed that plan. And they have nothing else for them. Because they can't recognize what we all recognize. It just makes Saquon Sugars the leader. Make him the mouthpiece. Make him the guy who's pulling all the strings.
Sure.
And everything works out well, because you got a big bruiser in Osiris Griffin. You got a very athletic, tall, lanky linebacker in Dion Lennox, and you've got also this Cutler guy. And so like you can make Saquon Sugars into something that feels important, but I just don't know if they recognize that at all. You know,
the shame of it is, Hank and Tank had a lot of momentum and a really feel good story, and a group that's out to just be violent and hurt people is a really easy thing to either make us feel pain as fans when they lose them very quickly, or a thing that says they're more violent than caring about the tag titles. But they've wasted so much time.
Right.
And I was thinking about this while I was watching this episode. I wonder if they were supposed to go after Javon Evans, but they just want to keep him so protected.
Yeah.
Because like they didn't really go through with that. And I think like him with all these guys, like Saquon Sugars would have had to get the better of him, and we would have had to have had like a best of 3. But maybe he's just so protected right now they don't want him taking those losses. But they're really, really waffling, and it's a bummer.
Yeah. This is also something here. What a betrayal from one sleeve having 2 sleeves, and Lieutenant Fellow calling it out. He has 2 sleeves. Unless this is like part of some kind of like, are they giving us the signs that something's brewing, and it involves 2 sleeves? You know what I mean?
Maybe, could be. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's definitely a choice, though. It's an intentional one now. He was probably like, man, this guy on this post show never shuts up about my 1 sleeves. I'm just wearing a full shirt. Get this dude off my dick about this.
And now another interlude of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Oh, take it away.
By Pop Popolowski. The wind in the wires. Wait, I already did that one. The dawn came late, and the breakfast had to wait. When the dales of November came slashing. When afternoon came, it was freezing rain in the face of a hurricane west wind. When supper time came, the old cook came on deck and saying, fellas, it's too rough to feed you. At 7 p.m., a main hatchway caved in. He said, fellas, it's been good to know you. The captain wired in. He had water coming in, and the good ship and crew was in peril in Paris. And later that night, when his lights went out of sight, came the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. To be continued. Lainey Reed.
I love this. Papa is so comforting. Oh, Papa.
Lainey Reed defeated Thea Hale.
She's Chapel Rowan, but sure.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Baby, I'm a giver.
Just go dance to the Pink Pony Club. So because what they've done here is like Thea Hale is, I don't know. She was gone for like 5 months. They brought her back. She won like a match, and then she started to lose.
Yeah.
And I thought that we were like, everyone told me like, this is the person you're going to build to be something like that. Once all of the top ladies are gone, she's going to be somebody who's going to be holding that NXT championship. And I'm like, okay, I think she's got the ability. I think you got to drastically change her character, because the crazy, what we lovingly call her, a coked up fiend. I don't feel like that sustains the top of the division. You know what I mean? So figuring out a way to like this whole like I'm a grown ass woman thing also I don't feel like has legs. Although if it had legs, it would know how to use them, because she is a grown ass woman.
Of course, yeah.
I really liked what I saw from Lainey Reed tonight.
Yeah.
Apart from the lazy cheating at the end.
Sure.
Let her get a victory over Thea Hale, which causes Thea Hale to be like, what am I doing wrong? What, like, am my emotions getting involved? Because that was the reason why she lost to Jada Parker. She wasn't thinking right, and if she had been thinking, she would not have let go of the Kimura when she did. Like, this is like, I'm not concentrating. I'm not focusing right. Let Lainey Reed just beat her, as opposed to try to win with feet on the rope, and then actually win by grabbing the rope, by pitting her, while Thea Hale had her arm fully, like her arm was all the way and up to her bicep was underneath the rope. Like that ref, like let's just keep burying the refs on every level, possibly. So, yeah, I don't know.
Lainey Reed is great. I think there's a very high ceiling for her. I really like in ring, just the deliberate way that she moves is something that's refreshing to see at this level, especially. Man, yeah, Thea Hale. What are we not doing? I feel like they think this was a way of protecting her, maybe, but I agree with you that a clean loss would have at least had a compelling character arc thing. But I also don't want the way she finds her way back to winning to be Andre Chase. So I don't want. Here's the thing, and we'll talk about the Chase U stuff in a second. I don't want them to go back to something that worked because it's safe. I don't think that's what the point of NXT is. I need to see Thea Hale lock into something different post Chase U that, like to your point, is sustainable, top of the card, future champ stuff. I think there's a way to build to her and Sol Ruca that could be really cool, but I don't. I would rather see her find something that works right now and then do that. Like, I don't think we've found it. I don't think being a grown-ass woman is enough of a character. But I also don't feel like the creative is trying to give her a character. Like, she's just middling right now. So I would like to see some creative effort around what she's doing, because right now it just feels like she's in matches. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, agreed. I just need this to now lead to other things for both of them, apart from each other. Like,
I'm intrigued by Lainey Reed quite a bit. Like, yeah, I want to see what's
now.
there.
Now we got to see what we're doing with this. Like, what's the thing that. What's the thing? You know what I mean? Like,
what is the thing?
Like, what's everyone, all the women who come from basically nowhere, who debut on the show, we don't know who they are. The ones that stick around and move up the card, like, have a signature feud. And man, they've used her so much for this kind of thing, but again, I mean, if they're not going to do anything with her other than hang out and approve of Sheamus, Natty would be a great person to come down and be like, Lainey Reed, I see a lot of potential in you, but I worry that you're going down the wrong path with some of your tactics in the ring. And I want to help. Like, I don't need your help. Listen, you're like, why don't you go back up there and hang out at catering on Raw, okay? And then Natty doesn't take kindly to that and actually throw some, like, let her be a little bit more Natty Neidhart in NXT than she's allowed to be on the main roster.
That.
Like,
it seems like everyone would love that, and they are hell-bent on not giving us Shooter Natty. And it's a damn shame.
Yes. Tavion Heights. He wants badly to be out of the NQCC. But if you we saw what happened to Javon Evans after you lost to him. Jasper Troy showed up and beat the hell out of him. Beat him down. Maybe if you had done that in your match, then you would have won versus Javon Evans and you'd be out of the NQCC. But you didn't, so you're not. And then Tavion says, yeah, but I still want to fight you, though. And I want the same deal. If the same deal Myles got. If I beat you next week, then I'm out of the NQCC. And Charlie says, you don't really want that. And Ren says, yes, he does. And so they agree. And so it's going to be a rounds match next week. Tavion Heights versus Charlie Dempsey. And again, I don't know where any of this is going.
I don't either, but I love rounds matches. And I also love a gauntlet match. And those both got set up today. So I'm not complaining about those. I just feel like you could just leave a faction if you didn't sign a contract.
I feel like there's nothing holding you there.
If I started a faction, I would make everybody sign contracts.
Like if you're Tavion Heights and you knock on Ava's door and she's free and you walk in there and say, I'd like to not be part of this faction anymore. She says, I'm sorry. When you joined NQCC, you did sign a document that said you were now the property of Charlie Dempsey. Like that, like I don't like imagine that being a thing that would work in any way. Like he would just, I'm not part of the faction anymore. Like
I guess
instead of saying, I would like please to leave the faction, and Charlie saying no. It says, I'm leaving. No, you're not. No, we'll fight about it. If I beat you, you gotta stay. As opposed to him like, please let me out, please. If I beat you, then can I go? All right. But I'm gonna beat you anyway. Like that, there's a difference there, right? Like,
please may I leave? Yeah, like it's a little. The other thing is the no quarter catch crew. It didn't feel.
Mr. Dempsey, can I go to the bathroom? Like that's what it feels like.
It also never felt like the no quarter catch crew was like for life. You know what I mean? There was not like an emotional bond between these guys. That makes me feel like, oh my gosh, this is being ripped apart at the seams. Like they were mostly just a group of really cool wrestlers. It didn't feel like we all made a pact when we were 9 years old to be wrestling in the same group forever. So it lacks the emotional appeal on that front as well.
Yeah. So Jasper Troy is looking down at the camera. The camera is very low and next to his belly and looking straight up at him. And it's a very odd, it's an angle that is suggestive. I will just say that.
It's an angle.
It's a very suggestive camera angle. Everybody's lives in fear of Oba, but he barely survived me. So after I know he wants Inamura to win, so he doesn't have to fight me again. That's what he says.
Decent. Like he's
fine.
Been much better than I thought the LFG.
Yeah, he still needs work. He doesn't need to be at this particular point yet, but he still needs work. But he's still further along than I thought he would be.
I agree.
You know,
I fully agree with that. I don't think he needed to get hot shot into the title, but he's not lost at sea with this, which is good.
So they showed earlier in the show. Yeah, hold on, I'm going to add this thing. Jambeard says, so Charlie owns his contract like how Ego owned Matt Hardy's contract. And I think at one point, like how Hangman Page's contract was owned by Matt Hardy. That's a long time ago in the lore of AEW. But yes, they did some weird thing where they bought access to the contract or why they couldn't leave.
I forgot about that, but I like stuff like that. Like, for example, AEW had a thing where two managers made a trade. And I feel like managers should be trying to trade talent all the time. After you've established you can do that, that's a really interesting thing. Mm-hmm. So don't do it once because it's convenient. Yeah. Make that a thing moving forward. Like, I like that. I like that a lot.
So earlier in this tonight, they showed a thing from last week where Tatum was like, why did you pull me away from ringside? I just wanted to support my best friend Izzi, who has no ulterior motives whatsoever. And it's like, we're stopping you from making a bad decision. That's what friends do, Tatum. And then in comes Izzi. She's like, oh, why did you do that? See, she's mad at you. No, I'm mad at you for pulling my best friend Tatum away from ringside and costing me that match. I know that it wasn't your fault, Tatum, and I don't blame you at all. And we are BFFs for life. I just realized that even though I lost, I hope that I gained your true friendship. And Tatum is like, I am the most gullible person in the world. And I don't like any of this. I hate that all of these women are being utilized in this way because I see a lot of potential in Izzy Dame. I think Zaria could be absolutely utilized as one of the top women in the entire WWE. That's how good I think she is. Sol Ruca, the sky's the limit for her. And Tatum Paxley, there's so many more things you could be doing than this. Of this person is obviously lying to me to get me to be my friend, and I'm gullible, so I believe her. Please stop this angle.
I don't love the angle. I don't hate it. I hate the backstages that they're like, this is definitely how women talk to each other. Like, come on, man. The thing I don't like about it is that is the way that Tatum Paxley is made to look naive. But at the same time, I also get like
years old. She is 28 years old. You are writing her as though she is 12 and these other girls are 17. And she like wants to believe that one of these older girls will like her and be her friend because she has no friends her own age. Like, that's how you're writing this bullshit. And I get that she's crazy, but does crazy necessarily have to equal stupid?
No, but I also feel like I like that she's always been looking for someone since Lyra. And then her friends did get released. So the idea that she's desperate for friendship is not something I hate.
Get that. I get that.
But the execution of this is not what I just said. You know what I mean? Right. This makes her look like what you said, but I feel like the story that's supposed to be being told is the thing that I said. So I don't like the execution of it, but I like the idea that I like the character motivation that she desperately wants a friend after having them continually ripped away from her. Her walking around like a little sister of it all is silly.
Yeah. So a tag match was made, and it happened tonight, and it was the longest match, I believe, on the card. It was indeed the longest match on the card, and it was good because 4 of these women are either great or good at improving. So
you're not going to believe what this was not for.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the match was quite good. Like, yeah, I can't wait for, and I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I really can't wait for when we get to see Zaria just work to her potential, because it's going to be life altering.
Yeah. She and Izzy throwing giant forearms at each other. Izzy's big boot is very, very good. Sol Ruca's
very big.
Excellent. Tatum Paxley continues to have really innovative offense that she comes up with.
That I'm just gonna do a flip leg drop thing on you was awesome because I buy that it does more damage than if she had just done a leg drop. Like she does some really cool stuff.
Yeah,
really cool stuff.
And even though I hate, oops, I speared you. I'm so sorry. Even though I hate that as part of wrestling, this might have been the best utilization of it. The timing was so solid. Like you absolutely saw that. At least the way I saw it, it looked like basically Zelta had already left her feet. She could not stop. And it was Tatum pushing Izzi out of the way at the last possible second, which allowed for Zelta to spear Sol Ruca. But the dumb thing happened, which is that Izzi Dame pinned Sol Ruca. And so then Ava's like, hello, I am a general manager of this brand, and it's good that you are a tag team. That might come in handy for a thing we're doing at Evolution that I don't know about yet because this was taped last week. But I just want to let you know, Izzi, that you have, by virtue of your pinning Sol Ruca in the tag match tonight, you are now just magically the number one contender because I had no other plans for Sol Ruca at Great American Bash, and we're like 11 days from there now. So I thought, like, rather than do my job, how about you just get a title shot? And Izzy's like, yay. Also after the match, like they put Tatum Paxley on their Nico Vance wearing a giant scowl. Put Tatum Paxley on his shoulder, and she was like, yay, everyone likes me. And I'm just like, oh God, I hate all of this. Everything about this I hate.
I agree with you that the oops, I speared him again spot was one of the better executed ones I've ever seen. And part of that is because Zaria has one of the best spears I've ever seen, and the timing of it was just beautiful. I think it means they're in the bloodline now. I think that's if you continually accidentally spear someone like this or have like accidental offense, you're just in it. So I look forward to the black hoodie that she's wearing next week. And tag programs to set up non-tag things is always frustrating. When you have something that's looming like a tag title shot, and I understand this was a pre-taped episode, there's not a lot you could probably go back and do with that, but I was just like, oh, sick. Okay, that's what this is for. That and it was not. So I'm kind of okay with that because I want Sol Ruca to be the ones to win that. So
right. Yeah. So also in this, Hank and Tank just show up now because I guess they saw the camera had the little red light on. So they chose this time to walk up to the culling and go, so we got attacked from behind, and the only evidence left behind after the attack is a black steel chair. Very likely that is not the color that everybody uses. So it must have been you. And then Tatum actually, I know my new friends who I don't realize are heels would never do such a thing. So I think that if you're so sure that they attacked you, even though I'm sure they didn't, then how about a tag team title match next week? And Ava's like, I have no power to make any matches. I haven't thought about anything. Sure, a tag title match, why not? And this is all terrible. All of this is terrible.
Continually amused by you narrating the inner monologues instead of what I said.
This is the implications.
I haven't thought about anything.
I mean, Tatum Paxley made a tag team title match, and they was like, yeah, sure, whatever, I don't care. Like, I mean, remember how she was like, Trick Williams, you are not allowed as the NXT champion to have any say in who your challenger is. And then Tatum Paxley just makes a tag team title match that she's not even involved in. And it was like, yeah, can they just make her consistent as a person who cares what the matches are or don't?
You're asking her to be consistent in her own program. What she's being consistent with is the main roster where nobody cares about tag team wrestling at all.
Right.
So kudos to her for learning from the best.
Yeah. Oh, that's right too. Yeah. That. Oh my God. Shy Johnson saying that I was so confused by Vic acting like a tag partner saving someone from a spear was choosing a side. She was her tag partner. She had already chosen a side. Yeah, Tatum Paxley shoves Izzi Dame out of the way and goes like, looks like Tatum Paxley has chosen her side. I was like, what are you talking about?
There were a couple of extremely rare Vic Joseph L's on tonight's episode. That was one of them. I wasn't even gonna call anything out because he's so damn good. Like he's one of the best announcers. But there were a couple things today that I was like, what are you doing? Yeah. At one point, he said Corey Graves could sell a ketchup popsicle to a man with white gloves, and I was like, I think we're just going a little full tilt on things today. Yeah. But God bless him.
All right, the next interlude from Paul Popolowski reciting The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald by great Canadian troubadour in honor of Canada Day. Gordon Lightfoot. Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the waves turn the minutes to hours? The searchers all say they'd have made Whitefish Bay if they'd put 15 more miles behind her. They might have split up, or they might have capsized, or they may have broke deep and took water. And all that remains is the faces and the names of the wives and the sons and the daughters. To be continued one final time.
Okay, I understand the Tommy Boy reference, guys. It was not applied appropriately to what was being said on commentary. It was out of place.
Mm-hmm. This is the fun part where I get to recite to you all of the things that happened between the second to last match and the last match.
Let's go.
It's that wonderful time in the NXT episode where there's like, let's do 8 backstage segments. We'll go like, hey, this big match next. And then they'll do like 3 commercial breaks.
Ethan Page, I'm ready. I'm buckled up.
And Ricky Saint, they're backstage. And Ava's like, what's going on? Why don't you guys just want to stop fighting? I know there's a title that one of you holds that the other guy used to hold, and you don't like each other, but can you guys just not want to wrestle? And Paige is there with the Vanity Project, and he's like, so I want my rematch, says Ricky Saints, and Ethan Page says, the Vanity Project are here to handle you if you get out of line. So I'm in a fantastic mood. So I'm going to give you a break. If you can run the Vanity Project Gauntlet, which is a thing I know I pitched like last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
That if you can survive the gauntlet, then you can have a match against me for my title. And Ricky Saints says, perfect. After I do that, then I get to dictate the stipulation for said title match. And Ethan Page's like, whoa, I didn't agree to that. And Ava's like, too late, I agreed to it. And that's what we're doing.
I actually really like this idea. I just wish it happened like months ago or weeks ago. Lupongi Vice says, I don't know what his name is, but one of the Vanity Projects looks like he could be Pete Gass's kid.
Yeah, that's Ricky Smokes.
Ricky Smokes. I actually really appreciate Ethan Page being like earmarked as a faction leader. I think that's a very good idea with these guys who have a ton of potential. Like I do. And I love gauntlet matches, Alex. I love them. So I'm here for this.
This will be fun.
I only question the fact that Ava was there. Again, Ava. She was like, here's what it's going to go. And they were like, stay out of this, young woman. This is about the two of us. I was like, well, why is she here for this talk? She chimed in at the end. But the dismissive nature of this being like, we're talking man to man. I was like, well, then why get her involved at this point in the night? It seemed silly.
Yeah.
Respect for Ava.
One thing that I don't appreciate is the overuse of the term hundos. I'm not here for your youth slang. I'm not here for it.
Hundos?
Yeah.
There was a while where Hundo P was like very for 100% was very, very big.
No, I'm not here for it. Won't do it.
I've assimilated, but I also watched Love Island, so I'm pretty hit.
It's the brain rot that seeps in through your reality TV programs, Kate.
I'm not proud of it, but it's who I am. Accept me for who I
am. Chase You segment presented by Progressive. And this dumb thing where like well, now I've after the two of you stormed out of my class for the past 2 weeks, I have welcomed you back into class so that I might apologize for using toxic tough love or whatever. But I'm willing to change myself and be better. And Kale, I went ahead and got you a singles match for next week. It's like, oh, well, thank you. And I just kept waiting for him to say against Oba Femi in a tune-up for Great American Bash. And they never told us who it was against. So you know it's going to be against somebody that Jasper Troy, who's extra pissed off after this week or something. Like, it's going to be somebody like that. It's like, you should have told me who the singles match was against. You know? Because he's a leafy green and he's not smart enough to ask now. But like, am I allowed to say this or would it be too problematic, too toxic? Well, I mean, it's only toxic if you say it at him, not with him. And I hate all of this, predictably, because it's a Chase U segment. But even if it wasn't a Chase U segment, I would hate this, the way that they are weaponizing all of this in a fucking dumb way.
All this utter woke nonsense. Is that what you're frustrated with?
Yeah.
This I was never like a Chase U defender, but sometimes when you are incredibly sour on something, I'm like, well, let's explore what might not be terrible about it. This is just bad.
Yeah.
This is just really bad. It's not doing anything for everyone. I don't even think it's the fault of the people involved. But rebooting a fake university when you let go of Duke Hudson and Thea Hale's not involved because two people were like, you should restart a university is a bad story. It makes no sense. This is all just bad. And it's no part of this is working.
Right. The thing that makes me the angriest is that they are trying to retcon that it was Kale Dixon who called out to him when he was packing up the university the first time. Hey, Mr. Chase. And he turns around and goes, oh. That's a reaction to a person he has no connection with, because when they first started talking to him months later backstage, they never mentioned that happened. And also he had never met them before. So why was he so surprised? They absolutely were going to bring back Bodie Hayward, and then they didn't bring back Bodie Hayward. You'll never be able to convince me of that did not happen.
The thing is, Alex, Andre Chase was single and vulnerable, and he got recoupled, and nobody wanted that. He should have left the island.
I'm gonna kick you off the island. The next thing that happened between the second to last match and the last match was Kelly Kincaid backstage with Joe Hendry, Mike Santana, where they agreed they do not like each other, but they like Trick Williams a whole lot less. The next thing is, they also did use this thing that, the two of you will be teaming up next week in a tag team match versus Team Bouncy Beef, aka the High Rise, with a Y in there and a Z for some reason. And then, the Great American Bash will play host to a contract signing for your match at Slammiversary. Because that makes sense.
I don't like the host of contract signings. I do love that Alpha Bill is just catching this now. Yeah. Kale.
He's the world's worst leafy green. That's I've made.
Yeah, it's a tragedy.
Then we get Briggs, old double vest, hyping up Inamura. You're gonna win. It's like, yeah, but I got this by myself. And Briggs is like, okay. I love how they just can't figure out a way for somebody to be supportive of Inamura at ringside without getting involved. Like they can't think of a way for him to just be there and cheer on his friend, and so he has to stay backstage. The match wasn't altered in any way by another guy not being at ringside. So it was just a weird thing that they did to like prove that Inamura doesn't need help, even though he's part of a tag team.
I also, like I said earlier, just like well, what does that mean for our tag future if he does go on to win? But he's my friend, so I want to. We've been down this road too many times, I fear.
And the next thing was the culling backstage, congratulating Izzy, Dame, and Tatum, and how they're best buddies now. And I kept waiting for them, like, by virtue of your winning this tag team match, you will be magically put into the weird fatal four-way thing at Evolution. But again, I'm certain that they came up with that idea after this episode was taped. So they'll figure all that out next week.
I think they came up with that idea as they said it.
I think they never even mentioned it. They didn't even do one of those things where they do like a recorded audio after the fact. And like next week, we will find out who will be the representative from NXT for the Fatal 4-Way Women's Tag Team Championship match at Evolution. They didn't even have Vic Joseph record that from his house. They didn't do anything. Like it was just like that didn't even happen according to this particular brand. It was weird.
They didn't even do a social media exclusive, Alex.
They didn't even do that.
Shame.
Okay, Jasper Troy and Yoshiki Inamura. Inamura wins with his giant super belly flop splash.
He's so good, man.
He kicked out of the Boss Man Slam. That's way too early. I'm sorry. You got to protect that for Jasper Troy. He looks great doing it. It was originally a very protected finisher. That should be a protected finisher. This is what? Dante Chen, Oba Femi, was this his third match on NXT? If it's not, it's his fourth. That's too early to have anybody kick out of that finisher.
I agree. Wholeheartedly.
You know, like he doesn't have to. At least let him like get a foot on the rope or something. Don't have him.
It's also a boss man slam. It's not a crossroads. You know what I mean? Like that is a finisher.
Especially the way he does it. You know what I mean? So they were doing a lot of sumo stuff. And Corey Graves was doing a lot of like, have you ever been to a sumo training school, Vic? Can't say that I have. Well, I went many years ago, and let me tell you, these guys are incredibly strong and super athletic, and this is what so he's showing you all the stuff that he learned. And then Booker T says, I don't know what you're talking about. This is America. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this guy's just the worst. He's just the worst. He's the worst. He's the worst.
I feel so bad for Corey Graves because I actually feel like he's doing the best work of his career.
That was one of the most informative things that Corey Graves has ever said on commentary, and then Booker T just buried it.
It's so off-putting, man. Don't love it.
But yeah, Troy looks very good at doing certain things and very not good at doing other things.
Yes.
And that just is something that will help with reps. But it might be that he should be doing those reps not on television for now, at least at this particular spot. He's the kind of guy that they used to have do squashes.
Yes.
For like 7 weeks in a row, he'd beat a guy inside of 45 seconds. And he would look, this guy looks like he's in a serious contender for something. And then he'd come up against an actual TV wrestler with real training, and he'd lose, but make it look good in 6.5 minutes. You know what I mean? And then you could like build him up from there. But they just skipped all the squashes, had him do one pseudo squash against Dante Chen, and now he got a title match. And I feel like he's got some things that the thing about this is that the over reliance on the stuff he does well and not helping the things he does poorly is going to develop bad habits. That's just the way it works in any walk of life. And so you actually have to help him learn those other things, and maybe being in these kinds of matches isn't the best way to learn that stuff, but the best way to learn it is other things. But that's just me.
I agree. They also, I feel like they have this habit of kind of hot-shotting people and then bringing them back down to where they're supposed to be. But that's it feels like their way of get a load of what's coming with this dude. Like with Oba Femi, he was checking couches and then they pulled him off TV and we didn't see him forever. And now he's great. So hopefully this is one of those and not a symptom of like now he just is the top of the card guy. Like let's You're right, and that the things that looked good looked great, and the things that looked bad looked like, whoa! It was disrupting it from feeling like a wrestling match type of bad. Yeah. Inamura's awesome. I find him so charming in every backstage. I think he's a beast in the ring. I have so much fun watching this guy. I'm glad he has stuck around because I like watching him on weekly episodic television quite a bit.
Oba comes out in like good for you. I'm going to beat you. His moment that the thing of it is that I wouldn't mind this if they hadn't done Myles Borne already. And literally the last time he did one of these. And the fact that they did Myles Borne the last time means you can't do this one again. Because it just gets to be the same guy. Like, I'm very impressed. Good for you. I'm going to beat you. And then he does. Like, that's all you can do with that particular thing, unless you're going to make him into an a-hole versus one guy and not the other. I thought the little mini program he worked with Jasper Troy allowed him to do something different in between, but we got to figure out stuff to do with this guy. I don't know what we're doing, but we got to do something more with Oba Femi.
It's just a shallow roster, and I feel like the other top of the card guys, they don't want to, like, it feels like everything else has to be really intentional. So I do appreciate, because Oba said last week too, like, every person that I beat is just adding to my legacy. So I don't need everything to be super intentional, but the opponent caliber of like, does this guy have a shot in hell of beating Oba has felt like most of his reign. The answer has been no.
Yeah. And then we see Jasper Troy still in the ring behind Inamura and Oba, and then Javon does his jumping cutter thing, his big jumpy cutter, and one of the things that turns out Jasper Troy doesn't do very well yet is take a cutter.
Yes,
so got to work on that before your match with Javon Evans, because you're going to be taking cutters. So figure out how to do that between now and then. So before we get into this really frustrating final segment, the final interlude of Popopolowski with the final four stanzas of The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald in honor of Canada Day by the great Canadian troubadour, Gordon Lightfoot. Lake Huron rolls, Superior sings in the rooms of her ice-water mansion. Old Michigan steams like a young man's dreams. The islands and bays are for sportsmen. And farther below, Lake Ontario takes in what Lake Erie can send her. And the iron boats go, as the mariners all know, when the gales of November remembered. In a musty old hall in Detroit they prayed, in the Maritime Sailors' Cathedral. The church bell chimed till it rang 29 times for each man on the Edmund Fitzgerald. The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down of the big lake they call Gitchigumi. Superior, they said, never gives up her dead when the gales of November come early. What?
BlueChew.com, code 5.
Good. Fantastic. All right. Thank you, Tom Lavelli, for sending in that request. So Jordynne Grace is the world's biggest underdog. Jordynne Grace, she doesn't believe she's good. Jordynne Grace thinks she's a bad wrestler and doesn't deserve to be in WWE. No confidence that Jordynne Grace has, one of the greatest wrestlers in the world. She thinks she sucks. Poor Jordynne Grace. Why is this a promo that she has to cut? Why can't she? Why does Jordynne Grace think she is bad at this? Like, she comes out and she says, "I worked so hard to get here, but now I don't know if I belong because I lost a match versus Stephanie Vaquer, who's one of maybe 15 women in the world who are better than me." So weird. This is so weird.
I know wrestlers don't always like watching their own footage, but have you seen a single one of your own suplexes, Jordynne Grace?
Lord.
I didn't like this promo, and whilst I understand and agree with your interpretation, she said, I have to do like the hardest thing that I can do, which is be vulnerable, and they just didn't let her be vulnerable. Like she said, a lot of you know my story, and then we didn't get to hear any of her. I think a lot of people don't know her full story. And I feel like they should say it on WWE television. If you're going to say something like, I have to be vulnerable, man, you guys know, right? It's not being vulnerable. Because it had me like, oh, okay, let's hear Jordynne Grace be vulnerable. And then it was just kind of dancing around some things. And I wish they had delved into. If you're gonna set that up, you kind of gotta go. You have to go there. Then
you have to go. You have to go all the way there.
Yeah, and I feel like what she was hinting at was she's been pretty open about her body dysmorphia, and like for Blake Monroe to then come out, who was like prototypical diva, you could have set the table something since they're going to be on the same side of things in this, but I did not like it didn't work. It just didn't work, unfortunately. And Jordynne can promo. Don't get me wrong on that, but this was not it.
Right. It just felt like it wasn't. I feel like there is a place and a time for Jordynne Grace, the wrestler, to talk about the issues that Jordynne Grace, the person, has with self-confidence and body dysmorphia and all this kind of stuff. But not for this match.
No.
What, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, it's like, you know, like there's a place for that where like you've reached your breaking point. She won one of the very best TV women's matches you'll ever see versus Julia, who's now the current U.S. women's champion. And the last time that Julia lost a match was against Jordynne Grace. So, like, Jordynne Grace is by the whatever transitive property is better than the women's U.S. champion currently.
She won a tournament to get the title match she's at, proving her better than everybody she faced.
Then she lost to Stephanie Vaquer, who's one of the greatest women in the world. Then she won a tournament to get a number one contendership. She's lost like one match. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand why that gets her to the point where she's got like, I gotta be vulnerable and tell you about why this is. It just doesn't feel like that. This section of her time in NXT hasn't earned this.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying.
I get that.
Like, and also the character that she plays is not like the character she plays is this absolute hoss
She's
who
the
trucks
juggernaut.
people and throws. She's the juggernaut. That's the character she plays. Absolutely, the real person can have all of these issues, but the character she plays straight up doesn't. Like, that's just the way that we've seen her
Not
on
right now.
television. If
Not
you
right now.
do,
It kind
are
of-
doing something like, it'd be really interesting, for example, really interesting if you were doing a character like Jordan Grace and she's steamrolling everybody. She lost one match, Stephanie Vaquer, but then she's beaten like 8 people in a row, and then she comes up against somebody who makes her feel small. And like, I can't just do the same. Like, for example, a person the size of, let's say, Nia Jax. All of a sudden, the stuff that I normally do doesn't work, and I'm not able to do, and I don't feel
it's bringing up all this,
you know,
yeah,
and it's bringing up all of this other feelings about it, or it's the person who brings this to the forefront is Blake Monroe, who, by the way, is totally miscast as a babyface, needs to be a heel immediately. Like Blake Monroe, like being like, why don't you tell everybody who you really are, Jordan Grace? Because this thing, you've just decided that you're going to wear this facade, and that's not who you really are. Now, is it, sweetheart? And now it's like, okay, well, what she said was out of pocket, but I got to be honest with all of you, the fans. This is my story. This is how I got to this point. Like, you can have the heel drive her to this point where she's being bombarded with all this emotional and verbal abuse, and she says, okay, now I got to be honest with all of the people. That's fine, but that's not what this is.
I think Alpha Bill brings up a good point that, like, the whole reason she said this was so that JC Jane could come out and be a mean girl. Like, this,
right?
But
that's
this
out
wasn't
of order.
for Jordan. That exactly.
It's out of order. You gotta have JC Jane be a mean girl first, and then like and her being a mean girl causes Jordan Grace to fly off the handle and go crazy about something because she triggered something deep within her, and then the next episode she comes out and says, "This is why I lost my mind for a little bit. I'll tell you all why." And if I'm the one to tell you why, then her words no longer have power. Because I'm being honest with you. My truth is coming out the way I want it to, which is a great lesson for all the teen girls out there who are watching.
For sure.
But they did it backwards. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah. Ooh, this is true. They could have Jordan Grace pass out after winning the NXT title. They'll just do that, and then it's anxiety.
The fact that anybody cares about Roxanne after all of her booking is actually amazing. Like, that's how good she is. They did Dirty by her in NXT, and then she is the losingest woman on the main roster.
Jordan doing this, says Jan Beard, feels like an old WWE Triple H thing where they'd make people from WCW feel like they were the minors, but now it's TNA. I mean, it feels similar, but yeah, it's anyway, this promo is interrupted by the Fatal Influencers, JC Jane coming out and being like, so yeah, I know you want gold to validate yourself, but guess what? It's not coming from here because I'm at the top of my game and no one's taking this title from me. And then she and the Fatal Influencers have a brawl with Jordan Grace, and Blake Monroe runs out to help Jordan Grace, and they run them off with some forearms, and then they high five. And Ava comes out, and Jason's like, "Look what they did! Look what's happened! This is terrible!" And Ava's like, "I know that I know. Well, listen, settle down. You want me to deal with these two? You want something bad to happen to them? Well, here's what's going to happen. A dumb thing I just came up with. They're going to do a Can They Coexist tag team match versus Fallon and She of the Many Consonants. And that's going to happen at the Great American Bash. And why? The first televised match we're getting for Blake Monroe, for Mariah May, is a tag team match? on the play? Have they announced anything for her next week? They didn't. Maybe they'll do a singles match next week, but like, what? And also, I'm sorry. I still feel like they should be figuring out a way to like have Mariah May demand restitution for being put through the table at her big contract signing, and Ava grants it in the form of a one-on-one match between her and JC Jane at the Great American Bash, which Blake Monroe wins, and then she faces Jordynne Grace at Evolution. That feels more to me like a momentous NXT Women's Championship match, because I think if they hadn't gotten a bug up their butt on the main roster about we need all the women right now, all of them, including Stephanie Vaquer, who's still the women's champion, then JC Jane wouldn't be the women's champion right now. It would be Stephanie Vaquer. By all rights, it should be. Apparently, she's dinged up, but other than that, they got nothing for her on the main roster.
I mean, she's not on the Evolution poster, which was pretty telling. She's not,
and neither is the sitting, standing, elbowing in the face Women's United States champion, Julia. Julia's not on the poster, and she's the current champion.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. They've in true homage to the first one, the build is piss poor to Evolution.
It is.
There's nothing I like about this ending. I'm wondering if is the winner of. They're not doing it that late. That the winner of that. No, because that would be it's too involved in the main title program.
So they changed it. They changed. I thought they said Jasmine. Apparently, it's JC and Horse Girl versus Jordynne and Blake. So wait a minute. Here's what we're doing, Kate. Blake is going to pin JC at the Great American Bash, and so Ava is going to come out and add her to the match at Evolution. That's what's happening.
That's probably it. That's
so
probably
Jordynne Grace doesn't get a one-on-one match at Evolution because Blake pins JC Jane in a rando tag match they have at the Gab.
I mean, it's not. Geez. It's not fully random. It's just bad. Like, because they put her through a table.
Luis, come on. You know this to be true. JC Jane is getting pinned, and they're adding Blake Monroe to the Devolution match. Well, Blake Monroe, after she snakes the pin from Jordynne Grace to become the women's world champion, she will then be heel come the Tuesday after Evolution, and Jordynne Grace will be the babyface chasing her. That's the thing that they're going to be doing. I would like to turn Blake Monroe heel. Blake Monroe needs to be heel.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sabrina Carpenter isn't, but I think Blake Monroe should be. I don't think the glamour is a face. That's weird.
No. No. Okay, here we go.
We also have seen this set up so many times. Refresh the playbook. Do something.
Ryan Cicchini saying Ethan Page leading Vanity Project kind of rocks.
Yeah.
I like that he's like taking them under his wing as though he's the frat brother that graduated 10 years ago and they're current guys, and he just showed up and like, let me tell you how it really works, kids.
He switched majors 4 times just so that he could.
He's basically Van Wilder. Ethan Page is Van Wilder. Yeah, there you go. All right, Canada puns in honor of Canada Day. Insert clever Nixon Newell pun says Nixon Newfoundland. Chris Pereira says Manitoba Femi, which is going to win. It's winning. Everybody else is playing for second place. Manitoba Femi is winning.
Femi is incredible.
Insert clever Nixon Newell pun says Nixon New Yellowknife.
Very nice.
Right, Rafael Garcia says Saskatchewan Breaker. Ricky Rainbow. Oh, this is we'll do that one. And then we do. This is very good. This is second place from. You have now the top 2. Chris Pereira has
That's
the top
incredible.
2 right now. Chris Pereira has Manitoba Femi and Quebecy Lynch.
Simone
Fantastic.
Bilesing his way through this tonight.
This is great. Okay, here we go. This is good from Cito Delgado. Mariah Maple, Alberta Del Rio, and Viva Vancouver.
Very nice.
Lepongi Vice says timeless Torontoni Storm. Meet Norma says Montreal in, Saskatchewan Moxley, and Tatum Mountie. Alpha Bill says Ali Catchawan and Stephanie Van Kukwa.
Y'all have been sitting on the Canada puns. You were waiting for this one.
You were waiting for this. We didn't know.
You prayed for this and it happened.
Tom LaValle, Big A. Not Big E, Big A. Kofi Kingston, Ontario, and Xavier Maple Woods.
Big A is really good.
Big A?
Big A?
He's Big A. Hey, Big A. Poutine Amanada. Insert clever Nixon Newapon says Hamilton Tegan Cats.
Very nice.
Chris Pereira says Maple Leaf Cassidy and CN Tower of Doom.
Very nice.
Oh, Lord Kev says both Canadian and TNA relevant. Moose.
Well played.
Moose is the very
well
Canadian
played.
thing,
Nice
yes.
to see you, Lord Kev.
Lieutenant Photo says Tim Orton's coughing in a donut out of nowhere.
That's really fun.
Chris Pereira says Celine Dion Lennox.
Chris is killing me tonight.
Uh,
There were nights when the wind was so cold. Of course it was, Celine. It was Canada.
Meet Norma says Calgary Ripley, Ontario Funk, and Calgary Stam Yeet. Not Calgary Stampede, Calgary Stam Yeet.
Minus 5 points for eating.
Electric Mayhem says Randy Hortons and Canadian Tuxedo. Lupongi Voice says Anthony Ogopogo. Anthony Ogopogo.
Oh, man.
Chris Pereira says Tour of the Thousand Islands. Is Thousand Island a Canadian dressing? I never think of it as such. My wife likes Thousand Island.
Isn't it? I don't know if it's a dressing as much as it is a thing in Canada. With the Thousand Islands, like a...
No, I think you think of the land of 10,000 lakes. That's Minnesota, which is near to. If there are 10,000 lakes in Minnesota, then there are at least 1,000 islands in Minnesota. But I feel like that's not necessarily Canada.
Ontario, Canada, my friend. Thousand Islands.
Oh.
Archipelago in Ontario,
Really?
Canada.
Wow.
I can fly there for just $291 in an hour and a half.
Wow.
According to Google.
Mm-hmm.
It pulled up everything.
Chillick Ma'am says Rechina, Yukon Sakazaki, and Letterkenny Omega. Yukon Sakazaki is really excellent.
Omega a lot.
Let's see here. Everett Smith 903 says Vancouver Grizzly Adams, the British Columbia Bulldog, and Duke Hortons.
Oh, Duke.
Thank
you for that.
Dan Beard says Maple Leaf Submission Lock, Ricky Syrup. Okay, let's see here. I think that's these are mostly most of these are now jukeboxes. Oh, there were LA nights when the wind was so cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got that one already. Oop. Meet Norma says Metrick Williams, Toronto O-Face, Moose Jaw Dim Duggan. Jambeard helping us out here. Matt tried to own Hanger's contract, but Hangman won the match with his own version, where Hanger got Matt's paychecks, I think. And this is how you know
right.
that Jambeard is a Canadian, because he spells checks that way.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah, there you go. Joe Machine, same thing. They didn't even mention the tag title thing. Not even the obvious ADR thing Shivani does on Collision. It's true. Could have. Louisville bringing up the rear. Sent these a few hours later, but still, they're great ideas. Quebec Lynch, Manitoba Femi, and Duck Hudson Bay.
Legend.
And Greg Cherry Brand says Prince Eddie Edwards Island. Love Yin.
Love you, Greg.
Love you, Greg. Then I like this one. Fun Canadian fact, number 1. Canada and Denmark had a whiskey war dispute over an uninhabited island that went on from 1973 to 2022, where the countries would take turns planting their flag and booze.
There you go.
Then, fun fact number 2. I like this. I need to know where this is so I can Google map it. Fun fact number 2. Canada has a lake on an island, within a lake, within an island, within a lake, within an island.
I'm going to need a name.
Yeah, I need to know this. Okay. Edmonton, Kingston, triple pun. Edmonton, Kingston. Triple pun, I win.
Thank you, Louise.
And then Jambeard says Winnipeg Blue Chew Bummers.
Thank you.
Do you want to address the attack levied at you?
Oh, I don't know why anyone would either. I just know that I now unironically do. I started ironically loving Love Island.
Yeah.
And now I'm just in on it.
Yeah.
I've lost control.
Yes, for sure. And Lieutenant Photo, you are indeed getting the brick wall. It will be some. I need to soundproof the room, which is the thing that will take up the most time from here on out. The flooring is done. The walls are done. The electric is done. I need to soundproof that room because I am very loud when I do podcasts. But after that, it needs furniture, and then so you're getting the brick wall. The brick wall is being gotten. Okay,
it's
just
very exciting.
All aware. All right. Speaking of exciting, Braun to sing "Skater Boy" by Avril Lavigne is requested by Jambeard.
Excellent choice, Jambeard. We have a lot of jukeboxes today.
Yes, we do.
Thank you guys for the support.
Yes. Here we go. He was a boy, she was a girl. Can I make it any more obvious? He was a punk, she did ballet. What more can I say? He wanted her, she'd never tell. Secretly, she wanted him as well. But all of her friends stuck up their nose. They had a problem with his baggy clothes. He was a skater boy. She said, see you later, boy. He wasn't good enough for her. She had a pretty face, but her head was up in space. She needed to come back down to earth. Get these ollies. It's a skating trick. No, wait. Hold on. Wait, I got it. Get these Vans. Because that's the shoe that you wear.
That's the shoes. Very well done.
I'm really upsetting that I did not think of that first.
That's okay. It was worth coming back for. It was really good.
I appreciate that. Do you want to do one of your Nya Girl requests?
Sure.
Okay. I see one here. Nya Girl says, "How You Remind Me" by Nickelback. That's
actually the one that I was just about to pull.
Okay,
up.
Good.
That's incredible that we picked the same one.
Yeah. Okay.
Never made it as a wise man. I couldn't cut it as a poor man stealing. Tired of living like a blind man. I'm sick of sight without a sense of feeling. And this is how you remind me. This is how you remind me of what I really am. This is how you remind me of what I really am. It's not like you to say sorry. I was waiting on a different story. This time I'm mistaken for handing you a heart worth breaking. I've been wrong. I've been down, been to the bottom of literally every bottle. These 5 words in my head scream, are we having fun yet? Yet. No. Yet. No. Nya. No. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so here we go. Seal Delgado says Gunther sings the Mounties entrance theme. Yeah, I'm the Mountie. I'm handsome and brave. I'm strong. I'm the Mountie, and I enforce the law. You can try to run, but you can never hide because the Mountie always gets his man. I'm the Mountie. I'm handsome. I'm brave. I'm strong. I'm the Mountie, and I enforce the law. You can try to run, but you can never hide because the Mountie always gets his man. This is literally just this 7 or 8 times in a row. It's too much. I'm going to beat Bill Goldberg. Yeah. So then
he's doing unreal work with that program.
Jambeard says, man, the Blue Jays whomp the Yankees, or as we say here in Canada, 1 BJ is better than 9 Yanks. Also, hashtag 10-year extension Aaron Boone. C. Delgado says, I just want to hear Kate rant about Aaron Boone.
First of all, that Yankee game was thrown to the Blue Jays in honor of Canada Day, so you're welcome. Second of all, I am simply out of ranting ability because the Yankees have chosen to have a lukewarm glass of milk manage their baseball team. This guy cannot keep this team inspired past like May 15th. From June until All-Star break, they just forget how to play baseball and nobody wants to score a single run. And now everybody's injured. It's terrible. He sucks. They are so tired and lazy, and he's like, well, the thing is, Aaron Judge will move him down a spot in the order. He sucks. I wish I had more to say, but he's just really he's so bad at the manager part. Eddie Idiot can be the statistics guy part, but he cannot manage a bullpen. I thought Joe Girardi was a bad bullpen manager. My God.
Can he manage a target?
This guy couldn't manage a target.
Jambeard says Danhausen to sing My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. I got to work on my Danhausen. It's been a couple of years.
I will be back extremely quickly. There is a bug that needs to not be alive in my office anymore. 1 second.
Okay. All right. Every night in my dreams, I see you, I feel you. That is how I know you go on. Far across the distance and spaces between us, you have come to show you go on. Near, far, wherever you are, I believe that the heart does go on. Once more, you open the door, and you're here in my heart. And my heart will go on and on. Love can touch us one time and last for a lifetime and never let you go till we're gone. Love was when I loved you. A one true time I'd hold to. In my life will always go on. Near, far, wherever you are. I believe that the heart does go on. Why does the heart go on? It's a good question. Danhausen does not know. Once more, you open the door, and you're here in my heart, and my heart will go on and on. Good.
I got the tail end of that. It was great.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, here we go. Hello, I'm here. Hold on. We got a duet, you and me, sweetheart, but right after this. So, Jambian says Linda to sing the good old hockey game by Stompin' Tom Connors. Hello out there. We're on the air. It's hockey night tonight. Tension grows, the whistle blows, and the puck goes down the ice. The goalie jumps and the players bump, and the fans all go insane. Someone roars, Bobby scores at the good old hockey game. Oh, the good old hockey game. It's the best game you can name, and the best game you can name is the good old hockey game. So, I mean, that's convenient.
That works out extremely well.
It works out well for old Stompin' Tom. So hold on, I gotta do my Google here.
I did my Google. I had to kill that bug.
How am I? Oh my goodness, it's right here. I don't know why it is, but the predictive text in my Google, I put "How am I?" and then it fills in "Supposed to live without you" lyrics.
You are, if anything, a Mike Bolton stan.
Well, this is true. Yes, I'm a big fan of the Michael. How could you not be? Look at his hair.
Who doesn't love the Michael Bolton? Not the one from Office Space, the musician.
So, how do you want to divvy this up? Should you want to do the verse and the pre-chorus, and then I'll do the chorus?
I feel like you should bring home the chorus, and I'll start.
I'll do the chorus, you do the verse and the pre-chorus, and then I'll do it.
Well, I'll tell you, because I could hardly believe it when I heard the news today.
Yes?
I had to come and get it straight from you.
Okay.
They said you were leaving. Someone swept your heart away. From the look upon your face, I can see it's true. The plans you're making. Oh, then tell me one thing before I... Tell me.
Tell me, how am I supposed to live without you? Now that I've been loving you so long, how am I supposed to live without you? And how am I supposed to carry on when all that I've been living for is gone? Thank you very much. Brian more or less says, sorry I'm late. We'll have to listen from the start tomorrow. You don't have to apologize. Thank you for the donation. I'll tumble for you. Thank you so much.
You can start 5 minutes in, more or less.
Jambeard helping us out that the lake within an island within an island within a lake or whatever is on Victoria Island in Nunavut.
Nunavut?
Nunavut.
Is there a priest butt? I have questions. I might be a little punchy.
You could be. Now Girl has one more here at the bottom to do that one. So you look up that while I do one more here. Okay. There's one over here that was okay. That's good. We did that one. Okay, here we go. Nope. Jambeard says, also, since it's Canada Day today, Alex's various voices to sing "Oh Canada." Various voices. Well, that could be anybody. Okay.
We hadn't heard from Ludwig in a very long time. I'm just saying.
You will not hear from him tonight because he is doing things I do not approve of, and so he will no longer be allowed on this show. Sorry.
Fine.
But you know who will be allowed on this show? We haven't heard from them in a while because they went to SmackDown. Oh, Canada, our own main native land, true patriot, loving all of us command. With glowing hearts, we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Thank you.
That was incredibly passionate.
I'm very passionate about Canada because I would love to move there. Is it possible that anyone can sponsor me and my family for relocation? Okay. So
I have my Anne Murray up if you need it.
Do your Anne Murray. Hold on. Here we go. Nya Girl sings "Snowbird" by Anne Murray.
Beneath the snowy mantle, cold and clean, the unborn grass lies waiting for its coat to turn green. The snowbird sings the song he always sings, speaks to me of flowers that will bloom again in spring. When I was young at heart, was young then too. anything that it would tell me. That's the thing that I would do. But now I feel literally such emptiness within for the thing I want most in life's the thing that I can't win. Spread your tiny wings and fly away and take the snow back to where it came from on that day. The one I love forever is untrue. And I could know. If I could, this is typed wrong, but if I could know you, then I would fly away with you. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Very, very good.
The people pointing out my bug paranoia in the chat. I am vegan until you are an insect, and then I will inflict all the pain on animals. I am a complete hypocrite about such things.
I am a vegan until you are an insect, which to me this says like you eat bugs. That's what that says to me. I'm a vegan until you are. You say I'm an animal lover until you are an insect. I am a vegan until you're an insect says that you only eat bugs.
That's true. I am kind to animals except for those ones.
Mm-hmm. Because they're yucky, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think we're ready. Hello, it's me. I'm here. I'm here. We're ready to go with this. Jambeard said, Dusty, the thing American Woman by the Guess Who. It's me. You don't have to guess who. It's me. It's Dusty. You don't have to guess.
There you go.
That'd be serious. That'd be silly. You know it's me. Okay, here we go. American Woman gonna mess your mind. American Woman, she gonna mess your mind. American Woman gonna mess your mind. American Woman gonna mess your mind. Say A, say M, say E, say R, say I, then C, say A, N. American Woman gonna mess your mind. American Woman gonna mess your mind. American Woman gonna mess your mind. American Woman, stay away from me, baby. American Woman, mama, let me be. Don't come on hanging around my door. I don't want to see your face no more. I got more important things to do than spend my time growing old with you. Now, woman, I said stay away. American Woman, listen what I say, baby. Daddy, if you will. American Woman, get away from me. American Woman, mama, let me be. Don't come a knocking around my door. Don't want to see your shadow no more. Colored lights can hypnotize. Sparkle someone else's eyes. Now, woman, I said get away. American Woman, listen what I say, baby. There's a guitar solo here, but I'm not gonna play it. That's it. Happy Canada Day to all of us, all of our people up there in the north. There's lots of Canadians who are dead wrestlers, but I'm not gonna name all of them because that would take too long.
No. That's a sad turn that just took. So thank you for something to bring us all down with after your beautiful addition.
I'm just saying, a lot of my best friends are Canadians, and they are celebrating their asses off up here. Oh boy, you would not know that how crazy these boys get on Canada Day. It is crazy. Hold on, I am definitely not stalling so that Ricky Rainbow can Google something. That is not what I would ever do. That is silly. Don't perish the thought.
Not. Baby, I cherish the love.
Okay, all right now. Oh, hold on. Now I'm gone. I'm leaving now. Everybody have a fantastic Canada Day.
We do have a sour or a humper chat from Empty Cyclo. That says, can I pull you for a chat, Alex? We've moved on from skibbity toilet to a different Gen Z terms. Do you know of Labubu's Moonbeam Ice Cream, Mike's Way Waist Snatched, Amaya Paya? Kate being so young and hip, she definitely knows all those terms. Well, Alex isn't here, so I'm sorry I got that so late, but I'll be sure to ask him next week.
Hold on. Labubu's?
Labubus?
Labubus?
They're the little angry, they're angry little looking like stuffed animal guys.
Labubu's. No, I don't know no Labubu's. Moonbeam ice cream. What's it? What's the flavor? Is it taste like moonbeams or is it like Blue Moon ice cream? I've had that before. But that also does not taste like the beer Blue Moon. Mike's Way.
Moonbeam ice cream.
Mike's Way is just
it's from Camp Island on Cartoon Network, which I definitely knew.
Mike's Way is that not just a way to refer to a something you get made at Jersey Mike's? It's a sandwich shop.
It's I get subs there all the time.
You add onions and lots of oil and vinegar, and so that is what Mike's Way means. I do not know what the slang definition of Mike's Way would be. Waist snatched. I would assume that would be if somebody had snatched your waist. Amaya papaya. Now that's just silly. That's just rhyming words. I don't know. I've never heard of these before, but thank you for
enlightening you and your lexicon.
Well, a moonbeam ice cream to all of you, and I gotta go. Bye.
Bye, Dusty.
Hello. I don't know what moonbeam ice cream is either, but that does sound like a flavor of acid I dropped in 1973.
I think it was. I think it's just evolved. Is Allie in the chat?
Rainbow does "Oh Canada" by Classified. Now, this is not, crucially, this is not the "Oh Canada" the national anthem. This is a different one by a group called Classified. I told this guy where I was from. He said, "Oh, Canada." Kind of laughs it off. You're funny, huh? Yeah. Come on. Oh, Canada. 1 2 1 2. Mic check. 1 2 1 2. Yeah. Oh, Canada. Yeah. From the land of the lost, trans-Canada crossed, patriotic and an honor, with my hand on my heart, from the greatest of lakes to the greenest of greens, to the rockiest mountains and everything in between. Oh, Canada. Oh, you're no fan of us? Because our movie and TV shows are so amateur. Yeah, we laugh it off. That don't really bother me. Look, we ain't serious until we really gotta be. Humorous attitude like the kids in the hall, like Jim Carrey, Mike Myers. Hell, we claiming them all. It's the Great White North, home of the funniest actors, the brunt of the joke, with an abundance of laughter. The red and white flag keeps it high, keep it visual. People say Canada and get stereotypical, but I think we finish every sentence with buddy or boy, and it ain't that, it's either dude, A, or guy. Canada, eh? Yeah, we consider it people, and smoking marijuana, we consider it legal. Still doing rap like the 1990s, but that's how we like it, old-timed and grimy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ricky.
A champion says, Ricky Rainbow to sing Ahead by a Century by the Tragically Hip.
I would describe you as tragically hip.
I would not describe myself as ahead by a century, though. More like behind by about 40 years. First thing, we'd climb a tree and then maybe we'd talk, or sit silently and listen to our thoughts, with illusions of someday costing a golden light, no dress rehearsal, this is our life. And that's where the hornet stung me, and I had a feverish dream, with revenge and doubt, tonight we smoke 'em out. You are ahead by a century, you are ahead by a century, you are ahead by a century. Thank you! Did I lose you? Are you not there anymore? Oh no, Kate dropped away. Look at her, looking all serious with me saying things like, hello, Kate. How are you? What are your plans for Canada? Nothing? No, you have no plans for Canada Day? All right, well, goodbye, Kate. Kate has nothing to say. She's frozen. So I will say, keep cool, gabagoos. Yeah.